It's late at night. You're sitting alone, staring at the ceiling. Your mind keeps going back to a conversation you had weeks ago. You're thinking, did I say the wrong thing? You keep replaying it, rewriting it, trying to fix a moment that's already gone. Or maybe you're trying to fix a version of yourself that only exists in your head. Does that sound familiar? We live in a time where it feels like everything about us needs to be improved. Our habits, our emotions, our choices, our past. We're constantly tweaking, adjusting, overthinking. But maybe the reason nothing feels right isn't because something is broken. Maybe it's because we're trying too hard to fix something that doesn't even need fixing. You weren't made to fix everything. Not because it's hopeless, but because maybe it was never broken. Real change doesn't always come from working harder. It doesn't look like constant pressure or endless self-correction. True transformation often happens when you let go, when you stop trying to control every detail and instead allow things to unfold naturally. Think about the best moments of your life. Did they happen because you planned every step perfectly? Or did they show up when you finally let go, when you stopped pushing, when you loosened your grip on how you thought things should be? That random person who changed your life, that unexpected opportunity, that answer that came when you stopped forcing it. We forget this. We start to believe that control equals progress, that the more we manage, plan, and push, the better life will go. But most of the time, that's not true. Imagine trying to clear a river by squeezing it with your hands. You won't help the water flow. You'll only create more pressure. The same thing happens inside of us. The more we force, the more we resist. The more we control, the more we block the flow of life. Sometimes the answer isn't doing more. It's being still. It's making space. It's letting silence speak before we fill it with more noise. Because when you stop fixing everything, you can finally start feeling. And when you feel, you hear what's real, not what fear keeps shouting in your head. Let's be honest. We all want clarity. We want to know what's next. We want a plan, a timeline, and a guarantee. We chase clarity like it's the secret to peace. But here's the twist. The more we chase it, the more confused we get. Have you noticed this? You overthink. You analyze every word. You replay every small moment. You compare your progress to someone else's highlight reel. And suddenly, you're not living anymore. You're managing life like it's a project. Maybe things aren't working not because you're lazy or lost, but because you're holding too tightly to your idea of how life should go. Maybe life is waiting for you to just let go. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means releasing what was never yours to control in the first place. That's not weakness. It's strength. Because the moment you stop fighting every detail, you open the door for peace, progress, and possibilities you couldn't even imagine when you were stuck, trying to force everything. Real growth doesn't always come with noise or big changes. Sometimes it comes quietly. It shows up in small shifts, when your need to control gets smaller and your trust in life gets bigger. Yes, control feels safe. It gives you the illusion that you're protecting yourself from pain or failure. And for a while it works, until it doesn't. Because when your happiness depends on everything going exactly how you want, you're not free. You're trapped in a cage made of expectations. And that cage, it's invisible, but it's real. It's made of thoughts, like, it has to happen this way, at this time, or I'll fall apart. Let that sink in. You're not just managing plans. You're trying to manage your emotions through those plans. And that's exhausting. It creates a quiet stress under everything, even when life looks fine on the outside. That tension you feel, that's your body telling you it's tired of holding on so tight. Here's the truth. Life has a rhythm. You can call it the universe, God, or just nature. But that rhythm doesn't answer to force. It responds to flow. It responds when you pause long enough to listen, when you stop shouting for answers and finally hear what life has been whispering all along. People who live with real peace aren't the ones who have it all figured out. They're the ones who've stopped needing to. They've made peace with the unknown. They've realized confusion is not the enemy. Sometimes confusion is the classroom, and the only way to move through it is not to force a way out, but to trust your way through. This kind of surrender isn't weakness. It's powerful. It takes courage to stop overthinking, to loosen your grip on the future, and to believe that silence isn't empty. It's sacred. And when you finally release the need to control everything, life doesn't fall apart. It falls into place. Think about this for a moment. What if the delays, the confusion, and the unanswered questions in your life aren't signs that you're failing, but invitations to pause? What if you're not behind? You're just being asked to breathe. We're so trained to rush, to fix, to figure everything out now. But maybe life has a better plan than your pressure. Maybe your timing isn't wrong. Maybe it's just different. You're not late. You're learning. We often think that peace comes from certainty, from having all the answers. But more often, peace actually begins when we learn to be okay without them, when we stop seeing confusion as something to fix and start seeing it as a season to sit with. Some of your most important growth will happen in those quiet, uncomfortable spaces, when you're not sure what's next, when your plans don't make sense, when nothing feels clear. That space isn't empty. It's full of potential. It's where your next chapter is getting ready. But if you fill it with panic, overthinking, or self-blame, you block the message life is trying to give you. You rush past the lesson, and then you wonder why you keep ending up in the same cycle. Clarity doesn't always arrive when you chase it. Sometimes it shows up when you're finally still enough to receive it. And let's be honest, stillness isn't easy. It can feel boring or scary, like you're doing nothing. But in reality, stillness is where you meet yourself again, without the noise, without the roles, without the pressure to be anything but present. When you slow down, you hear the truth beneath the noise. You realize that maybe your worth doesn't come from your productivity. Maybe your value isn't tied to how much you achieve. Maybe you're already enough, even when you're still. Let that sink in. You're allowed to rest without earning it. You're allowed to pause without feeling guilty. You're allowed to just be. Because the truth is, you are not a machine. You're a human being. And being isn't about constant motion. It's about presence, awareness, connection. And yes, there's a place for hustle, for effort, for building. But those moments need to be balanced by softness, by trust, by space, or else you burn out chasing a life you never get to enjoy. The irony is, the more we chase peace, the more it runs away. But when we stop chasing and start trusting, peace arrives, quietly, steadily, gently. You don't have to figure everything out today. You don't need a 5-year plan right now. Sometimes the most powerful move you can make is to let go, not to quit, but to trust. Let go of the timeline. Let go of the expectations. Let go of the belief that you're only valuable if you're busy. What's meant for you won't miss you. You don't have to grip everything tightly to make it stay. The things and people that are meant to stay in your life, they won't need to be forced. And the ones that do, maybe they're not meant for your peace. When something feels heavy all the time, ask yourself, is this really mine to carry? Or am I holding on to something I was supposed to release long ago? Some weights aren't proof of strength. They're signs of resistance. And letting go doesn't mean you failed. It means you're finally trusting the process. Remember, effort is good, but over-effort is fear in disguise. You're not weak for needing rest. You're not lazy for feeling lost. You're not behind because your life looks different from someone else's. Comparison is a liar. It tricks you into thinking you're the only one struggling. But everyone you admire has felt unsure, unseen, or unworthy at some point. The difference is, they didn't quit. They kept going. They let the confusion shape them instead of shame them. So if today feels hard, that's okay. It doesn't mean it's wrong. It might mean something inside you is shifting. Growth often starts as discomfort. When a plant grows, it breaks through the soil. When a butterfly emerges, it leaves behind the cocoon. And when you evolve, parts of you that no longer serve you must fall away. That's not loss. That's life. You don't have to rush through it. You're allowed to be a work in progress. You're allowed to change your mind. You're allowed to not have all the answers yet. Here's a secret most people won't tell you. Nobody really has it all figured out. Some people are just better at pretending. But underneath the surface, we're all walking through stories we didn't plan, learning lessons we didn't ask for, and growing through things we never thought we'd survive. So if you're still here, still breathing, still trying, still showing up, give yourself credit. That's strength. That's progress. That's enough. You don't need to prove your worth. You were born with it. You are not behind. You are on a path, and every step, even the slow ones, are part of the story. Let's begin with a quiet truth. You are not broken. You are becoming. Every scar, every misstep, every chapter you thought would destroy you, shaped you. And maybe the reason you haven't given up, despite it all, is because some part of you still remembers. There's something beautiful ahead, something worth staying for. Sometimes we forget that healing isn't loud. It's not always a dramatic breakthrough or a big moment. Sometimes healing looks like getting out of bed. Sometimes it's choosing not to believe the worst about yourself. Sometimes it's just breathing. And that's enough. You don't have to wait until you're perfect to love yourself. You don't need to be healed to be worthy. You don't need to be happy all the time to be okay. You just need to be honest. And sometimes honesty sounds like this. I'm struggling. I don't know what I'm doing. I feel alone. But you're not alone. There are people who care. People who've walked through darkness and made it out. People who would understand if you gave them the chance. You don't have to carry everything by yourself. One of the bravest things you'll ever do is ask for help. There's strength in softness. There's courage in vulnerability. There's power in saying, I need support. You are not a burden. You are a human, and humans need each other. We were never meant to do life alone. So let yourself be seen. Let yourself be known. Let yourself be loved, not for who you pretend to be, but for who you really are. Because that version of you, the real one, is already enough. And even if your light feels dim right now, It's still light. Even a flicker can break through the darkest night. So don't underestimate your presence, your words, your existence. You might not see it, but someone out there is inspired by how you keep going. You are someone's reason to hope. You are part of the light, and the world needs your light. Not when you're perfect, not when you've made it, right now, as you are, imperfect, in progress, real. The world doesn't need more polished masks. It needs more honest souls. So don't shrink to make others comfortable. Don't dim to avoid being seen. Shine, not to impress, but to express. Not to prove, but to live fully. You're here for a reason, and maybe you don't know the full reason yet. That's okay. You're not supposed to have all the answers. You're supposed to live the questions. Let them unfold. Let them surprise you. Let them lead you to places you never imagined. You don't have to do it all today. Just take the next step. Trust the process. Honor your pace. And remember, you are not behind. You are on time, right on time. You are the story unfolding. You are the light arriving. And no matter what you've been through, no matter what you're still facing, you're doing better than you think. Keep going.